Hi everybody, it's Nessa J coming back to you with another video. Today we're going to be talking about a couple things, so stay with me. So recently, I want to say this morning, I looked at my husband's account for the court or whatever. And this one right here popped up, which is motion to quash. So basically we've been going back and forth with the court trying to prove that he is an innocent man and prove that what was being said about him is a lie and incorrect, and how they are trying to indict him, but the indictment that they have for him is incorrect, and everything on there, like when you do an indictment, it should be perfect basically. And we're trying to prove that because the indictment that they have for him is not perfect, it's invalid. So, motion to quash on here, which is basically taking it off. So what quash means is a formal request to a court to declare a legal proceeding or document as invalid or void. The purpose of a motion to quash is a challenge of validity of a subpoena, arrest warrant, legal complaint, or other proceedings. It could also be for like indictments, anything like that. Now, we say that because everything on how it started with my husband being arrested is illegal. They told my husband when he got arrested back in February 27th of this year, whatever. They told him that he was eluding the police, he had an arrest warrant, and he had supposedly kidnapped my children and I, and he was on the run, stuff like that. They never showed us a warrant, and this is in Muncie, Indiana. They told us that, the Muncie City Police Department told us that the marshals told them to come and pick up my husband. And we kept telling them if the marshals want somebody, the marshals will come and get them themselves. They don't need the city police to come and get anybody because they're the marshals. They can go anywhere. So that was lie number one. Then they talk about, oh, he has an arrest warrant. We go to all the court dates in Indiana. The clerk for the judge originally had said they had a warrant from the state of Georgia, but it was invalid because it wasn't signed by the correct individual, and basically it was just a whole bunch of nonsense on paper. So she said this warrant is invalid. She said this on camera as well because they record all of their court hearings. She said that this warrant was invalid, and basically she got to send it back because it's voided, like it wasn't correct is what she was saying. So they originally held my husband for 30 days. The judge agreed and admitted on camera that he held my husband for longer than he should have, and that was his fault. And instead of letting him go when he was supposed to, he decided to keep him an additional 10 days for supposedly Texas, because supposedly he had two different arrest warrants, one for Texas, one for Georgia. But Texas closed theirs a long time ago when we first found out about it because of insufficient evidence. We heard this from the public defender's office. Georgia was still trying to pursue. So he originally told my husband, okay, well, we're done with Georgia. We're going to just hold you 10 extra days for Texas. If they come and get you, okay. If they don't, we're going to let you go. What he didn't say was he was originally holding him those 10 extra days for Georgia so they can get the correct arrest warrant. And he wasn't holding him for Texas at all. We have contacted as many people as I possibly could, like the Attorney General's office, the governor of Georgia, anybody we could, basically, about the warrant. The governor of Georgia sent my husband a letter admitting to never signing any type of warrant for my husband's arrest because he's never seen one. We emailed the Attorney General's office. They told us they don't have any type of documentation regarding the case number we had, the incident number, or anything. So I even asked, like, okay, well, if you don't have anything, why is he still being held? Like, I'm not understanding. If nobody has anything, why is he still being held? We found out from the OCGA codes, which is the Georgia law codes, that if the word true is on your arrest warrant paperwork and it's not stamped or signed, but if it's typed, basically it makes it invalid. If it's signed or stamped, then it makes it valid. My husband has the word true bill typed on his paperwork for his quote-unquote indictment. Now, in order for you to get indicted, you have to have gone to court first in order for you to get the indictment. My husband has not been to court in Georgia at all, other than hearing what they were trying to charge him for. And then there was like, oh, you know, he's eluding the police. That's how we got the arrest warrant. You can't elude the police if you don't know you have a warrant. Like, it doesn't make sense. I remember I was talking to my husband's current public defender, and I was asking him about some paperwork that he sent. I always forget what it's called, but it's basically documentation on if the Attorney General has basically valid evidence against you for your arrest and against, like, for the case to go forward. The lawyer he has first told me that the Attorney General and the courts do not have to legally give him any information or show him any evidence, basically, for the case. They can go through with the case and everything like that without showing him any evidence of something happening or anything like that, whatever they have. So I called him the next day and asked him again, okay, so what exactly do we need in order to basically fight the case? And I asked him about the paperwork. He said, well, you know, they don't have to give it to me, like the evidence that they have, until 10 days before the court hearing. I'm like, that's not what you said yesterday. You said they legally don't have to give you anything, is what you said. He said, no, they don't have to give me anything until 10 days before the court date. Nah. This is what happens when you get like a public defender and everybody's working with each other. Everybody's trying to make money on keeping people locked up for no reason. And it's like, y'all not understanding. Once these people get free, or the world finds out that y'all are illegally holding people just because to make money, it's going to be like a lot of people going down. Whether it's judges, lawyers, governors, anybody basically held responsible, or anybody that knows something and not doing anything about it. What else? Oh, for instance, with the, I want to say, with the indictment paperwork. So there are 3 people, including my husband, or 3 other people, including my husband, who have the same lady signed on their indictment paperwork, and her name is misspelled, and her signature is like, it's like she signed it through a computer and then copied and pasted on there. So the names are Mark Patrick Slick, I think, Lorenzo King, and Jimmy Mills. They all have the same lady's name on their indictment, and her name is misspelled. So once again, if there are any invalidness or any type of wrongs on the indictment, it makes the whole indictment invalid. Her name being misspelled makes their whole indictment invalid. That includes my husband's as well. And we recently found out, like, the Georgia Rule 36.6, which is the Georgia Uniform Superior Court Rule, which is supporting that. Once I find it, I'm going to read it to you. So, it says, there shall be one or more books or microfilm records, combined minutes book, writ or pleading record, and final record called minutes and final record, in which each entire matter except traffic and TVB cases shall be recorded after completion. Basically what that means is, in order for you to get the indictment paperwork signed by a judge, you have to have the court minutes or the minutes in general leading up to the indictment. The court admitted that they don't have, or the court and the Attorney General's office admitted that they don't have any minutes regarding my husband's case whatsoever before the indictment. Now, if you have no minutes adding up to a case, then your indictment and any other paperwork that you filed to go against somebody is invalid. So it's like, it's not making sense. And they are really doing some illegal stuff in the Georgia penitentiary. And it's like, people are trying to help his ex lie for herself. Like, you came out of nowhere, literally nowhere, and tried to say that my husband did something to your daughter. But it's like, every time you try to open up your mouth to say something happened, your story keeps changing. Her story has changed at least 4 to 5 different times since he's got arrested in Indiana. When we first found out, they didn't tell us, who was accusing him or anything like that. We just knew what they were trying to hold him for. We later found out it was his ex-wife. And she tried to say something happened with them in 2017. Here's the issue. My husband hasn't seen his ex since maybe like 2014, 2015, when she brought the police to the house he was living in Michigan to take their children away from him with the police. Because she originally called, I want to say Texas or Michigan, and said that he had kidnapped the children after she sent them to the airport and called him and told him to come get the children from the airport. So she called and said he kidnapped the children. So the police came and everything, and they snatched the children away from him. And they told him, all right, well, it's fine now. The police are back with their, the children are back with their mother. Then, years later, she's like, oh, he did this and he did that. This was filed supposedly last year, but we just found out about it this year. The whole warrant and all what she's saying. So we're trying to figure out if something did happen, or something that you're saying happened, supposedly, why wait almost 11 years to say something? Because they've been divorced since 2014. And she's like, she keeps saying it happened January 1st of 2017. That's his ex-wife's birthday. So you mean to tell me you don't know what's going on with your family on your birthday? Like, are you not around your family at all? And if something really did happen, which it did not, but if it did, why wait almost 11 years to say something? Why not have said something when it happened, supposedly, all those years ago? Why wait to hear that, oh, he's having more children, he's happy, he's with someone younger and more vibrant, to be like, okay, well, I'm upset because he's moving on with his life, so I'm going to say something to break up their family. Like, that's not right. And whoever is helping her or helped her, y'all are some very bitter old women. And I mean it. I want to say another word, but we're not going to go there. What else? It's just been a lot going on. Like, the police officer who took her statement in Georgia, it's like he used white font on a white piece of paper to take down her statement. She originally said he was from California, and he's not. She said in the paperwork she doesn't have any type of contact with him and hasn't since they've been divorced. But turned around and said, well, I contacted his family and I got the car information that he has on the car he drives. Here's the turn in the story. When we came to Michigan from Indiana, we was only visiting one house when we came here, and that was his aunt's, because it was always something going on that she had to call my husband from Indiana to come and help her with. And she has children that live with her that are adults. So, we were up here visiting because one of her children passed away and she needed help, like trying to clean up his room and get his room together because his siblings weren't helping, even though they lived there. So we came all the way here from Indiana. My husband personally cleaned up the room that had like the blood and everything in there and made it to where they were able to walk in there without an issue. So we went to the funeral, and then it's like after we left the funeral, and we stayed a couple days, and then we went back home to Indiana. When we moved to Muncie, Indiana, that's when the bull crap started. Because it's like, when we went to the funeral, somebody took down our license plate information, the car color, and the type of car it was, and gave it to the ex-wife. Why are we doing that? I don't know. But that's what happened. And everybody playing that, oh, we don't know what's going on, we don't talk to her, and all this other bull crap. But she admitted in her incident report, she does talk to y'all. And his aunt had the audacity to call me by the ex's name, knowing that that's not my damn name. So when she called me, she's like, I am so sorry. I'm like, oh, so you're telling on yourself without telling on yourself. Like, I know you talk to the ex now, for sure. Don't ever disrespect me like that. We're two different people. The ex tried to say this happened before with some of his older children. That's a lie. And she was saying this in the bond hearing court. Her lawyer cut her off in mid-statement and said, we don't have any valid evidence of what my client is saying. Please ignore all comments from my client because we don't have the evidence proving what she is saying is true or accurate. Bond hearing stuff. She started the whole boo-hooing, crocodile tear bullcrap. I'm like, this lady, like when I say she started in mid-sentence and then stopped and then started back up like a couple minutes later, I'm like, she is really putting on the act, for real. I don't even know this woman, personally. I just know like her name and that, you know, they have 2 children together. I don't never really met any of the exes. I don't really care to meet anybody, but I'm like, I don't know you. Why do you have such an issue with our relationship? Um, what else? I think that's it for now. Bye.